Final Fantasy XVI released as a full package, with a full storyline, 40 hours worth of gameplay, and a whole bunch of side quests to tip that even over. Now, Final Fantasy XVI is still missing something that a lot of other action RPGs have, and almost every single Final Fantasy has. Now, when I say missing, it's not like it needs it. This game doesn't even need DLC. The game came as a complete package, and I have no doubts about that. This is more, the fans want more, so they're gonna give us DLC. The devs came out and said we're going to get 2 paid DLC packs, along with some free skins that got released today for Clive, Jill, Torgal. But the DLC packs are important because I think the content they include with that is going to impact the longevity and replay value of Final Fantasy XVI. So what's missing that I keep talking about Final Fantasy usually having and action RPGs having? Well, that, my gamer friends, is super bosses, post-game activities, mostly in terms of bosses. So, Final Fantasy has always had its share of super bosses. Especially recently, I've been going through Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy XIII trilogy, and the super bosses in those are pretty insane. Go back to Square Enix's flagship action RPG franchise, Kingdom Hearts. They are known for their Cavern of Remembrance and their data battles, having some of the most challenging and in-depth boss battles you could have for a post-game. The reason I think this is so important is because of replay value and longevity. The story and spectacle of Final Fantasy XVI was awesome, but I really felt like it came and went. People saw it, their minds were blown, and that was kind of it. There was discussion afterwards, but it's not the same staying power as, let's say, Elden Ring or even the recent Armored Core 6. And I know a lot of people like to come at me, well, Final Fantasy wasn't always challenging, and I actually have to disagree on that. The old Final Fantasy games, even all the way up to 15, had their fair share of challenging bosses, and 16 was definitely the easiest. But I don't think it should have been the easiest because of the game they went for. They're going for an action game. The action game genre is usually known for having challenging bosses, or at least post-game bosses that you could test the combat system on. The other comment I usually get towards this is, well, Final Fantasy XVI has Ultimaniac mode. Unfortunately, I don't think that's the way to do difficulty or post-game content. You have to go through the game once to even unlock Final Fantasy mode, then go through Final Fantasy mode to unlock the missions to do Ultimaniac mode on, and then you're pretty much sitting there fighting the same mobs over and over again for a very long time because the HP is so damn high in that mode. Then you finally get to the boss that you wanted to fight this whole time, and it's not that much harder. They have the same minimal move sets, and then you dump them down into a stagger and unleash all your icon abilities into them. It really is not that strategic. It is not that fun after a while. The leaderboards are an awesome addition, and in general, I appreciate that they're trying to add some difficulty post-game type stuff. But Ultimaniac mode was just not it, and that is, while that is just my opinion, I don't really see anyone else playing it too much, and it's definitely not on my timeline where people are trying to do challenges and compete with each other. But everyone is still always going back to Kingdom Hearts 2, Kingdom Hearts 3, doing those data battles, streaming those at level 1s, no menu, speed runs. I think Final Fantasy XVI deserves more. The game came as a full package, but it could last so much longer with its gameplay. The combat system they created is actually incredible, but there's a huge difference between boss design and the combat system. While the bosses were spectacular, that's kind of all they were, was spectacular. They weren't really mechanically deep or anything like that, or made you really think about the icon abilities you were bringing into battle. Honestly, the movesets weren't even that in-depth anyways. I go into a lot of this more in-depth in my review, so if you guys want to hear all about what I thought about the bosses, the combat, even the story, definitely click right here on the tag, go to my review for Final Fantasy XVI. But I think the DLC needs to be more gameplay focused than story. I'm not opposed to story. Like, if they give us a Leviathan DLC, it comes with a story, and they give us a few super bosses at the end, that's fine. What I don't want is one giant story section and then one boss that's like decently challenging, but everyone beats in one day and no one really talks about it after a week. I just don't want that. I want it to be the same as a recent Kingdom Hearts game or a Devil May Cry game where people are going on and playing it over and over because there's always something new to learn with the bosses, or it's just so hard at points that everyone is learning how to actually beat it and sharing their strategies around. You almost feel like you have too much to use at your disposal through 16 because none of it really matters in a sense. Everything can be used on everything. But I think the game should have had you lean towards certain aspects and strategies to make you bring out the best of its combat system. The best way to see the combat is to kind of go into the training mode and just destroy a dummy, but I don't want to do that. I want to be challenged against the boss and use my abilities against the boss. Really, one of the best examples I could give is one of Square Enix's own games, Kingdom Hearts 3, one of my favorite games. When it released, people were really mad that there wasn't enough post-game content. And while 16 released as more of a full package, I'd say, so people aren't too keen on getting all this post-game, by this time, I think it's a good idea to add the same type of deal. It enhanced Kingdom Hearts 3's replayability so much it's insane, and I think 16 deserves the same. So let me guys know what you think. What would you like to see for Final Fantasy XVI's DLC? Do you agree with me? Do you still want to see a bunch of story and kind of get like a basic one story section, one boss at the end for each of the DLCs? Or do you want to see it more gameplay focused, them add a bunch of different things to keep the longevity of the game going, to keep the community engaged in new boss battles, trying to learn them in the combat? So let me know what you guys think. I really enjoy talking about what they could bring to the table with new action RPGs, and to be honest, all of this is because I think Final Fantasy XVI was fantastic. I just didn't get enough out of it. The system they created was not utilized to its full potential, in my opinion, and that's okay. It's okay to criticize things you love sometimes, and it's not even too big of a criticism of mine. It's more of a really big want for its DLC. I think it would just be perfect for the game. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll be back very soon with some more JRPG content. Hopefully you guys are enjoying Final Fantasy XVI or any other game that has been releasing these days. There's a whole bunch of them. So yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.